All right, it is Saturday, but there's still tons of airdrop alpha that you need to know about. So let's hop right in, starting off with Monad. Monad is one of the most hyped new L1 projects that is scheduled to launch this year. And there's been a lot of speculation about how to qualify for the Monad airdrop. Now, one of the main things that you can do to try to qualify is to go join the Monad Discord and then grind in the Discord, always be messaging and try to get additional roles to rank up, and potentially there will be an airdrop allocation to people that get certain roles in the Discord. However, this morning I posted on Twitter that I'm really not interested in grinding in the Discord because I don't have time for that, and I'm sure many of you don't as well. And I actually got quite a few helpful responses of people that had other suggestions of ways to potentially qualify for the Monad airdrop. Now, I do have to say that all of these things that I'm going to actually mention right now are somewhat speculative. They have not been 100% confirmed, and they can actually be quite expensive. So you definitely have to do your own research and decide whether or not it's worth the risk to invest the capital in the things I'm about to mention in order to actually potentially qualify for a Monad airdrop, because it's not guaranteed. So the first thing was shared by Koorsman on Twitter, which is that if you purchase a Pykinians NFT, you can potentially get a whitelist for the Monadians NFT collection, which is speculated to give an allocation for the Monad airdrop. Now, the Pykinians collection is currently sitting at a floor price of about 2.4 SOL. So that's slightly less than 500 US dollars at this point. It's not exactly a small amount of money. And this is very speculative because basically we're hoping that by purchasing one of these, we're going to get a whitelist to mint one of these, which is then going to give us an allocation for Monad. Now, me being a degen, I actually decided to go ahead and purchase one of these because they could also have some other benefits, and these Pykinian NFTs are tied in with the Pyke ecosystem, with Wormhole, and also with Monad. So who knows? It's a risk that I was willing to take anyways. And then in terms of two other speculative ways to potentially qualify for the Monad airdrop without having to spend the time grinding in the Discord, basically it boils down to staking Pyke tokens or staking W tokens from Wormhole. We don't even have those tokens yet, and we don't know exactly when staking might be enabled, but there is a decent chance that these activities will end up yielding some sort of Monad airdrop. Now, for staking Pyke tokens, this I had already known and speculated about, and I am staking Pyke tokens. However, the amount of tokens that you need to be staking in order to potentially qualify is definitely up in the air. And so this is a recent distribution chart that shows if you stake over 1K, you're basically in the top 48,000 holders, but in order to be in the top 5,000 holders, you need to stake over 5,000 Pyke tokens. And since these tokens are currently trading for just under $1, this is a pretty expensive endeavor, especially if you didn't get the Pyke token airdrop itself. However, if we compare this to the first possibility for getting a Monad airdrop, which is buying one of those Pykinian NFTs, I would say that staking Pyke is probably a higher likelihood. However, the issue is how many tokens do you need to stake and how much can you actually really afford, especially since the price of this token has run up 42% since December. Now, I purchased a little stack of Pyke tokens somewhere in here around 30 to 40 cents, but it does feel bad buying more when it's run up this much. And then when it comes to the Wormhole token, however, I am getting a decent allocation for that, and if they do enable staking, that's something I'll consider. Anyways, I wanted to throw this out there. These are three kind of speculative ways that you could potentially qualify for a Monad airdrop, one of the most hyped projects of 2024, without having to spend the time grinding in the Discord, which is super annoying. All right, next up, let's briefly talk about EtherFi Season 2. So the first round of the airdrop actually ended up being quite lucrative. The EtherFi token is doing pretty well, and the second round of the airdrop is going to be almost as big, at 5% of the total supply compared to 6% with the first airdrop. And today they just announced the new details on how to qualify for Season 2. And what it boils down to is they're going to have a ranking system. So you advance from rank 1 to rank 8 based on every 100 hours that you stake ETH, which is the liquid restaked ETH from EtherFi. If you qualified for the airdrop in Season 1 and you didn't immediately withdraw your funds, you're already starting at rank 2. And you do need to hold a minimum balance of 0.1 ETH in order to continue to rank up. Now, they've done also a couple of other things. For example, new stakers are going to accumulate points at a rate of 10x for Season 2. And they're saying that while this does dilute the old points, they're basically trying to really incentivize more people to come in and not just give the same amount of an airdrop to the people that got it in Season 1. Also, if more than 70% of your points at the end of this campaign came from Season 1, you will not be eligible for the season 2 airdrop. So when it all boils down to it, what does this mean? It means basically if you keep your ETH staked, you're going to rank up, but also if you stake new ETH, you're going to get a massive 10x points boost. And you basically just need to make sure that you stake enough or at least hold enough ETH in order to get enough points to clear this 70% threshold and qualify for season 2. So in terms of my personal strategy, I have decided not to remove any of the ETH that I've staked with EtherFi, and in fact, I've deposited most of it into the Pendle LP pools. And I'm actively considering allocating a little bit more in order to benefit from this 10x points boost. Because especially now that we've seen the strength of the ETHFi token hovering somewhere around $4 per token for the last week or so, I would say that the season 2 airdrop is gonna cook just as much as the season 1 airdrop did. All right, next up, there's 2 updates from DeFi platforms within the Mode ecosystem. Mode is one of these new Ethereum layer 2s that I've been farming and I'm pretty bullish on. And 2 DeFi platforms are Ionic and Ironclad Finance. So for Ionic, they confirmed that there's an imminent launch of the Ion token. They have a point system on right now, and I have been using Ionic money to run up my Mode points and also to deposit some liquid stake tokens and earn points for those airdrops as well. But I recently actually reallocated basically all of my assets on Mode to a strategy that I'm deploying on Ironclad Finance. I would have probably done it on Ionic, however, the borrow caps for pretty much every asset on this platform were hit. And on Ironclad Finance, there was actually some cap space. So I rotated over to this and they just launched their point system. And this is going to run for 90 days. You collect Ember points and basically that's going to result in the Ironclad token. So these are 2 solid DeFi airdrop targets within the Mode ecosystem. And by interacting with them, it's guaranteed to be at minimum a 2-for-1 because you get Mode, you get that platform, and if you use LRTs like EtherFi's EETH or Renzo's Easy ETH, then it turns into a minimum of a 4-for-1 airdrop target. And tomorrow, my full video is coming out giving the breakdown of my 20-for-1 airdrop strategy, which actually does culminate in depositing and looping on leverage using Ironclad Finance. But for that video, you can also use Ionic money. I think they're both solid platforms. All right, next up, for Polkadot stakers, of which I am not one, there's actually a claim on for this dead token right here, so you can go and check to see if your wallet is eligible. I don't know much about it because I'm not really big on the Polkadot ecosystem, but apparently the snapshot for Polkadot stakers was March 18th, and you get 36 dead for every 1 dot staked. Next up, Cubic has launched their Solana public goods round, and basically this is the Solana version of Gitcoin grants. So there's been some speculation that if you make donations to Cubic to projects in the Solana ecosystem, that could potentially help with Solana airdrops, just the same way that donating via Gitcoin grants could help with Ethereum ecosystem airdrops. So the first round is running for another week or so. It ends on March 30th. And the link is right here. So if you want to check it out, this is a bit speculative. At worst case, you're basically donating some money to projects that could probably use it. But best case scenario, it could actually be some sort of airdrop qualifier or multiplier. Definitely a bit speculative though. All right, next up, this is a new testnet that you can try to get an airdrop for. There's a little guide in this video. All you have to do is claim some testnet tokens and do a couple of things on their app on the testnet. The points are distributed for this overlay protocol every Thursday, and the airdrop is going to be 1.5% of the total supply. Not a lot. I don't expect this to be worth a whole lot, especially since it's a testnet and the percentage allocation of the airdrop is not huge. But if you don't have much capital, stuff like this is a decent way to get started. Okay, next up, there's this Have a Coin, which is a meme coin within the Cosmos ecosystem. A lot of people are qualifying for this if you stake Atom tokens, Osmo, Celestia, a couple of other assets as well. They have an eligibility checker right now, and they've released their launch plan. And apparently the claim for this is only going to be open for 24 hours. Now, I don't actually like this. I feel like this sort of induces FOMO, and it encourages people to connect and claim and click buttons quickly and potentially make mistakes. So I'm definitely not going to be rushing through the door to claim this. It's a meme coin anyways. However, I am allocated a decent amount across a bunch of different wallets. So with this, I would say Be careful. If it ends up being legit though, definitely you'll have to pay attention because it looks like the claim period is going to be very small. Next up, there's an airdrop for minters of inscriptions on the Bitcoin network. It is ticker symbol POI or POI. And if you mint inscriptions on Bitcoin, you can go check to see if you're getting an allocation. All you have to do is paste in your Bitcoin address. And then finally, from On-Chain Alpha on Twitter, this is actually, I think, a useful list of daily tasks to do, especially if you don't have a huge amount of capital and you want to do things that interact with a bunch of testnets or that have cheap daily transactions like the Owl2 Finance daily check-in. So I'm gonna leave this in the description as well. These are basically a bunch of buttons that you can click either for very cheap or completely for free that could potentially help you qualify for some airdrops moving forward. So that is it for today's video. A lot of stuff in there. Hopefully you found this useful as always, and I'll see you later. Stay tuned tomorrow for my massive 20-for-1 maximum degen, high risk, high reward strategy for farming airdrops. Have a great day.